So Craig Shakespeare has lost his job as Leicester City boss. The Foxes have had a rough start of the season that has left them in 18th place after 8 games, having only picked up one victory, a 2-0 win over Brighton. While they've played a lot of the Premier League juggernauts such as Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal and Liverpool, the Leicester board have decided that 6 points from 8 games isn't enough, so Shakespeare has been given the boot. The former assistant boss was given the job permanently in the summer after taking temporary charge following the sacking of Claudio Ranieri, and although Shakespeare did do well to turn their season around last time, it probably wasn't the right decision to give him the job on a permanent basis. Shakespeare joins Frank de Boer on the list of Premier League managers to be sacked this season, but who will be next? Let's take a look at the 5 most under pressure managers in the Premier League right now, including those who deserve to be under pressure and those who don't. First up, we've got Slaven Bilic. It feels like Slaven Bilic has been under pressure at West Ham since the dawn of time, or ever since they started playing in the London Stadium. But whenever things looked desperate for the Croatian, he managed to pluck a win out of nowhere, much like he did against Huddersfield earlier in the season. Since then, things have been a bit better for the Hammers, losing just once in the last 4 games, a 3-2 defeat at home to Tottenham, which saw West Ham almost complete a sensational comeback. However, things aren't totally rosy for Bilic, who received a barrage of boos before the international break when he replaced star man Javi Hernandez for one-away striker and eventual match winner Diafra Sakho. The West Ham gaffer always seems to be on the brink of another disaster, and bad results in their next 2 games against Brighton and Palace could make the London Stadium a toxic place once again. Next up, we've got Mauricio Pellegrino. The Argentinian is one of the newest managers in the Premier League, but the former Alaves boss is already under pressure after an indifferent start at St Mary's that has seen the Saints struggle for goals, especially at home, carrying on their goal-scoring woes from last season in front of their own fans, although they were slightly rectified as Manolo Gabbiadini's brace rescued a point against Newcastle on Sunday. Southampton have scored 5 goals so far at home this season, but 3 of them have been penalties. Things stalled under Claude Puel last season, and there's a chance that could happen again this season under Pellegrino, with both managers failing to hit the heights of Ronald Koeman and Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously it's early days for the Rafa Benitez apprentice, but the signs of progression aren't forthcoming as of yet. Next we've got Ronald Koeman. The most under pressure manager in the Premier League right now, Everton's start of the season has been absolutely shocking, especially after the money they spent over the summer, shelling out on the likes of Jordan Pickford, Michael Keane and Gylfi Sigurdsson, with the arrival of the Icelandic probably posing the most questions, strengthening an area of the pitch that wasn't really necessary, rather than bringing in a marquee striker to replace the outgoing Romelu Lukaku. After a great debut season under Koeman, things looked positive for Everton, especially with the money invested, something of a novelty at Goodison Park in years gone by. But the Toffees only have 8 points from 8 games, leaving them in 16th place, despite being billed for another European push at the start of the campaign. The former Barcelona defender is the bookies' favourite to be sacked next, and it's hard to argue against that. Next up, it's Eddie Howe. It's the Cherries' 3rd season in the Premier League, and apparently 3rd season syndrome is a thing, because Eddie Howe's men are really struggling this season, sitting 2nd bottom with just 1 win to their name this season, a Friday night triumph over Brighton that saw Jermaine Defoe score his first goal since returning to the club. Eddie Howe is probably the best young English manager around right now, but that doesn't excuse him from being under pressure, because his side are looking like early relegation candidates, and the goals aren't flowing like they used to at Dean Court. It would be crazy to relieve Eddie Howe of his duties, but with the financial rewards of Premier League football nowadays, Eddie Howe can't be exempt from the sack, especially if things continue to go wrong on the south coast. And finally, it's Arsene Wenger. It's an obvious one, there won't be a time from now until the Frenchman leaves that he's not under pressure from fans, with a large portion still obviously unhappy that he was given a new contract at the end of last season, despite the Gunners' failures. The longest serving manager in the Premier League right now isn't going anywhere sadly for Arsenal fans, but the defeat on Saturday night at Watford was a stark reminder of their inability to grind out results and fight for the shirt, being bullied by Troy Deeney and the Hornets, who accused Arsenal of having no cojones. It hasn't been that bad a start of the season for Arsenal, but the heavy defeat to Liverpool and loss at Vicarage Road is just another reminder to Arsenal fans that they are still a million miles away from a title charge under Wenger, and sadly it'll most likely stay that way while he's in charge, meaning the Wenger out banners and Arsenal fan TV rants won't be far away. So those are the 5 Premier League managers under the most pressure right now. Let us know who you think will be sacked next in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.